Welcome to the Feria TechCast. Here we bring you all things science, engineering, technology, and innovation. Today we are joined by Andrew Hinkelman, a former CTO who now works as an executive coach for tech founders and leaders. After experiencing his own severe burnout in the corporate world, he made it his mission to help others. His core belief is that at the highest levels of leadership, all professional development is actually personal development. He's worked with leaders from companies like AWS, Stripe, and Airbnb, helping them bridge the gap between technical excellence and leading their teams with genuine human connection. In this episode, we'll explore the invisible ceilings leaders face and how to build the self-awareness needed to lead effectively. So, Andrew, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ezekiel. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you here today. So let's dive in. Your journey from a burnout CTO to an executive coach is a powerful pivot. So, what was the specific moment or feeling that made you realize your approach to leadership was unsustainable and you just couldn't think your way out of it?
It's a great question. One of the things that happens when you are leading teams and being the face of your organization is really that everybody needs something from you all the time. And if
Mm,
you're constantly giving away your time and giving away your energy and you come home and you've been in meetings all day long, you don't really feel like you've gotten anything done. So for me and for a lot of people, it was easy to kind of lose sight of my own goals and start to feel like things were becoming a little bit pointless. And so that led to a lot of burnout, which then led me to a lot of introspection and a lot of work to figure out what I really wanted to be doing. And it came back to people and mentoring people, coaching people. And that's where I decided to take the plunge into entrepreneurship and to build my business around executive coaching.
great. That is quite an interesting journey. You say that at the senior level, all professional development is actually personal development. So for the engineers and analytical minds listening, what does that personal work actually look like in practice? I'd like to hear your thoughts on this.
So as we start our careers, we come into it with some education. Usually it's a college degree and we're
Mm-hmm.
very good at something and it gets us a job, gets us, hopefully it's getting us more and more responsibility and we tend to learn more technical aspects. We get certifications, maybe to learn new languages and all that. But at a certain point, you realize that it's your relationships, your ability to build trust, to influence other people, and to have actual communication skills that get your ideas across. Those are the things that become your next challenge in your career. So a
Mm,
lot of those really require you to look inside yourself, to do a lot of personal development there because it's not as easy as just going and learning another programming language. So you really have to figure out why you're getting blocked or why you're getting stuck. And a lot of it comes down to like your ability to relate to other people and to form genuine relationships.
great. So, Andrew, you've worked with leaders from AWS, Stripe, and Coinbase. So, what is the one universal human pattern or blind spot you see in these brilliant technical founders and CTOs, regardless of their company's size or sources?
Well, the one universal thing is truly just an outside's ego. And that probably is not going to surprise anybody because your ego and your self-confidence are what got you into the job and they've driven you you've been successful because you've believed in yourself. You've had that powerful ego. Um, but at some point, when you need more and more people to trust you and to follow you, it becomes a problem, becomes a liability. And so a lot of times you see these guys have to be the smartest one in the room. They have to have the last word on everything. Every decision has to come through them. They're always at the center of everything. And at a certain level, that starts to look like somebody who's insecure, looks like somebody who's needy, who is trying to hide something. So, all of these guys, they end up either addressing that and figuring out how to kind of shed their ego and let go of it, or they wind up getting pushed aside. It's not every, vice president or CTO is successful. A lot of these guys can't make the leap, and they wind up getting pushed aside if they can't figure out how to bring other people in.
Hmm. All right. So I am curious about the transition from fixer to leader. Can you share a story from your own experience of a time you had to consciously stop yourself from solving a technical problem and instead empower your team? And what was the outcome of that?
Well, I'll tell a really specific story, which is that I was at a financial services company for quite a while, and we would, occasionally have outages during the day while the stock market was open. And there
Hmm,
were plenty of times where we would have an outage and be unable to get trades over to the marketplace. And there's a pretty strong level of pressure to actually execute those kinds of trades because you're talking about financial transactions based on the data and the time of day and where the markets are moving. And so you're really talking about possibly being liable for millions of dollars depending on your client's investments. So, there were at least a couple times where we really were at the point of possibly having to drive to a data center because we lost connectivity. It's times like that where, something like that seems illogical. It seems like you just needed waited out. It seems like there's other options and things like that. And a lot of times you have to kind of get out of the way and let the best idea come into fruition. So, the core element of all those is that bringing people together with different ideas is usually the best thing to do. And you can then, a lot of times, discern what the best solution is going to be. And so my role in a lot of those situations is usually to kind of facilitate and make sure that we're making a fast, quick decision that is going to make sense for the company. So letting go a little bit, but also keeping pressure up and making sure we're making decisions is a little bit of a balancing.
fantastic. So, Andrew, some engineers can see emotions as data noise. So, how do you help a logical systems thinking leader start to see emotional intelligence not as a soft skill but as a critical signal for their team's health and performance?
It's a great question. One thing that's really important is that we look at all of the data around us. And when you think about any kind of decision or situation that's meaningful, not just like a small tactical minute to minute kind of thing, you're going to do some quantitative analysis. Maybe there's some sort of cost benefit or there's something that's analytical in it. A lot of times something doesn't feel right or there's a question that it keeps popping up. You might feel some resistance. It's learning to take those as data, like to pause and be self-aware enough to kind of wonder, like, what is that? Is that fear? Is it some trepidation? Did something happen in the past that is coming up here? But being able to take all of the inputs, whether it's feedback from other people, whether it's your quantitative analysis, whether it's your gut, which is really what we're talking about here, and allow all of them into the room and kind of look at it all objectively. So using it all as data really requires a lot of self-awareness, requires you to slow down a little bit, and it really requires you to be open to all the inputs.
All right. So you talk about the invincible ceiling, quote unquote, that smart leaders actually hit. So what are the telltale signs that a leader has hit this ceiling because of a personal rather than a professional limitation?
Yeah. So when I think of an invisible ceiling, it's it's usually something that you are holding on to from the past. So in the case of a very senior engineer, a lot of times holding on to the idea that your job is to fix everything, make sure everything is up and running, there are no outages, all of those things become limitations to you because you have not realized that as a leader, as an organizational leader, that you're in a different game. So when you're doing engineering and you're fixing issues, that's a certain game that you're playing. Suddenly you're in a new game where your relationships and your trust, your understanding of the business are the things that are going to make you successful. So, like I said before, a lot of people get into like a vice president or CTO level and just kind of feel like they made it and they're done. They did it. But the truth is the guys that don't build relationships and don't understand the business strategies or the industry they're in are the ones that get left behind. So those are critical elements to actually succeeding in those roles.
All right. So speaking about authenticity under pressure, so what does authenticity under pressure actually look like for a leader in a crisis? Is it about being transparent about uncertainty or is it something else?
Well, I define authenticity. One aspect of authenticity is really honoring your own ideas. So
Mm,
as you have ideas, you have opinions, you have thoughts on things. It's voicing them, even if you feel a little bit vulnerable, but voicing your ideas and honoring them. So authenticity under pressure is really listening to your gut, trusting your gut, taking in the inputs that are there and really being open to the collaboration of people around you. We as humans, we really crave connection, right? And the flip side of that is we can tell when someone's inauthentic. So when someone seems fake or they seem political, we pick up on that really quickly. And that people throw around this term about politics being so dirty and they really, especially engineers, like, oh, I don't do politics or that person's so political. What they're really saying is that they're not authentic and so they can't connect with people. So part of the pressure in a pressure situation, you need people that you trust. You need people that have good decision making, people that take inputs from their team, all of that, and then make a decision quickly and act in the best interest of the company. Um, and that requires connection and trust with your team.
great. So for the high achievers listening who are terrified of burnout, what is one small, non-negotiable daily practice you recommend to build resilience from the inside out?
A good question. Building resilience needs to be a daily practice. So when you get into a management position, a leadership position where everyone wants something, everyone needs something, everything seems important, you need to have your things that you care about, that you're working on. What happens a lot is you get into a position where you're leading a lot of people and you're constantly answering emails, reacting to ideas, Teams messages, spending your day in meetings and everything. What happened to your stuff, the stuff you want to do, the strategic work that's important to you? A lot of people lose sight of that. So, find out when you have the most productivity in your day. For most people, it's early in the morning. So if you're a morning person, don't take meetings before, say, 10 a.m., right? Use a block of time, and maybe it's not every day, maybe it's 3 days a week. Use your highest energy and your highest ability to focus to work on your things, your planning, your budgeting, your roadmap, your strategic vision for your organization. By doing that, you're taking care of yourself and your own needs, and then you can be a better leader. You can be better throughout the day. You can be a better manager.
Great. So, Andrew, in your view, what is the hidden cost to a team when the leader is consistently the smartest person in the room?
It's really isolation. Early in Netflix's days, they had this thing called a culture deck. A lot of people have heard about this now, but they had a slide deck that was all about their culture. And one of the items in it was no brilliant jerks. So this phrase brilliant jerks has become pretty popular. But what they said about it was there wasn't anybody that was so smart or so important that they would stay on with the company even if they couldn't collaborate. So, when you have someone that's really, really smart and is not able to build trust and build relationships, they get isolated. And as soon as you get isolated, you have people going around you. You have marketing teams that want to hire contractors all the time, or they have shadow IT. You have people that go around you. They go to your direct reports or they go to someone else when they have a question. You get left out of a lot of decisions. So basically, you get isolated, and then eventually, you're going to be let go.
All right. So, Andrew, if you could walk into a tech organization and ask just one question to diagnose the health of its leadership culture, what would that question be?
That's a very good question. I think the one question is, um, how engaged is your staff? And the reason why that's a good question is because one of the things that happens is your staff on your team is going to pull back. If you're unhealthy, if it's a toxic culture, if you have a toxic leader, if you have a brilliant jerk at the top of your organization, people pull back. So the level of engagement that employees have is an indicator of the health of the company.
Hmm, interesting. So, looking back at your time as a CTO, what is one thing you would do differently as a people leader, knowing what you know now?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. I think the main thing is I would have just slowed down. You know, like a lot of people, I was trying to move as fast as possible all the time, from morning till night, trying to get as much done, keep everything up in the air. I think
Hmm.
slowing down would have allowed me to be a better mentor, a better manager, would allowed me to, listen. Just strictly listening to a lot of people on my team would have been a big improvement for everyone.
All right. So, what gives you the most hope about the future of leadership in tech industry?
Well, this is going to be a little bit of a obscure answer, but what I find really inspiring is that a lot of the science and research around how our brains operate, around neuroscience is catching up and giving us really, really good information about what's healthy and what's not healthy. So
Hmm.
there are a lot more people out there now that are trying to get rid of these things, right? Trying to put down the phone, put down the notifications, turn off distraction, and actually do focused, deep work on a regular basis. So,
Hmm.
I'm glad, intuitively, a lot of us knew like the more I'm on devices or social media, the harder it is for me to concentrate and context switching doesn't seem to work, multitasking doesn't seem to work. Now there's, a body of research that supports what used to be kind of intuition.
All right. So, Andrew, in your work, which is all about integrating human depth with technical leadership, what does the word innovation truly mean to you now?
Innovation is something that right now it's kind of hard to answer that without mentioning artificial intelligence.
Mm,
And so, you know, innovation right now is really about how do we use the tools, whether it's AI or something that we've had for a while, but it's starting to look more and more like it's going to be an AI driven world that we're in. How do we use the tools to help us have more time? How do we actually use the tools to help us become um, more innovative, more creative, more human, to connect better with people? So, I think as we go into the future, the innovations are gonna be really notable, are gonna be the ones that help us expand our humanity and be more compassionate with others.
all right. So, finally, for our listeners who are feeling the weight of leadership and want to explore this strategy of yours for themselves, you offer a complimentary coaching session. Where can they go to schedule that call with you?
So I invite everybody to look me up on LinkedIn. It's the best place to find me. Just search Andrew Hinkelman and you'll find me there. And just below my name on my profile, you'll find a link that says book discovery call. It's not a sales call. It's really an opportunity to see what coaching is all about. And I coach people for free for an hour, and you can get a feel for what executive coaching or leadership coaching really is. You'll come away with some insights, some ideas, some new ways of approaching some of the challenges that you have. So I invite people to take me up on that.
All right, Andrew, it's been a really insightful conversation with you, and I'm excited and equally honored to have you on the show today.
Thank you, Ezekiel.